Okay, so here we are for 2.1.3, day 2. We're going to keep practicing slope, the exact same thing that we did yesterday. Slope is very important. So if you take a look at your images sheet, this is the exact first image that was put on there. It's a slight difference on this one than there was on the stuff that we did yesterday. However, it really closely matches yesterday's exit ticket. So what I would like you to do, I want you to take a few minutes on your own, and I want you to see if you can find the slope for each of these lines. What you will have to do though, since the points aren't identified for you, you're going to have to find 2 points on each line. Remember, we're looking for the grid, so like where they cross perfectly at a corner. We don't want like a half mark or a quarter mark. That's a little bit, I don't even want to do that. I love math, but I don't want to do that. So we want to make sure that you're choosing nice points to use. Additionally, remember that slope is written as a fraction. It is rise on top, so it's the up-down part goes on top, and then the run, the right-left part, that goes on the bottom. So I want you to see if you can do these 4 lines that we have on that images sheet. So I'm going to go ahead and color code these, see what we get. So for A, remember you're going to choose 2 points on line A. You just want to make sure they cross at that grid. So, okay, I'm going to use that red dot and that red dot because those cross perfectly at a grid. I wouldn't choose the one in between them because it's like halfway through, a third of the way through. I don't really know. It could be 5/19 of the way through. I have no idea. So I want to choose at the grid. Okay, remember we do points from left to right, just like you read. So the point on the left, we would have to go down 1, and then we would go right 2. So remember, slope is the up-down part first, that goes on top, -1. Then the right-left part second, okay, +2. Now we simplify. We know that a negative divided by a positive is just a negative, and then we can't simplify 1 and 2, so we just leave it as 1/2. So that's my answer to A. Now, you could have chosen 2 other points. I just chose those 2. All right, let's go to line B. Oh, let me color code my lines here so I know which one I'm looking at. Okay, line B, find 2 points. 2 points. Okay, I'm going to choose these points down here. Only because they're kind of away from everything else, and I'm going to do that little staircase looking thing. Okay, so left to right. Looks like I'm going to have to go down 2, so that's -2. Then I'm going to go right 1, so +1. Okay, remember the up-down part goes on top. So -2 over, now the right-left part, that was +1. I know that a negative divided by a positive is a negative, and then I'm going to flip those over. Okay. C. Choose 2 points. Okay, I see a point here, and then I see another one up here. Again, it doesn't matter which 2 you choose. So I'm going to go up 2 and right 3. So I'm just counting the boxes over. Okay, so for C, I went up, remember, up, down part goes on top. Then right, left part goes on the bottom. I know a positive divided by a positive is positive, so 2/3. Okay, last one, line D. Oh. Well, you can choose any 2 points, but I don't know that I need to because this one's kind of a giveaway. So if I take a look at this, to go from the left point to the right point, I don't go up or down at all. So there is no movement up and down. I do go 2 points to the right though. But remember, the right-left part goes on the bottom. Now, if we have 0 in the top of a fraction, we know that that answer is going to be 0. Remember too, this was one of those special cases that we talked about yesterday. This is that flat or horizontal line. But that only describes what the line looks like. We have to say slope equals 0. Now, I know that I got some questions about the negative signs back on A and B. So I want to go back to A. And there is another way you could write this answer, and it's still correct. As long as there's only one negative sign in the answer, the negative sign can either be on top or it can be on the bottom. So, or you could rewrite this so that the negative is on the bottom with the 2. You're going to get the exact same thing, identical. So let's go back to the graph and test it out. So I'm going to put this in a different color. So I'm going to put this in purple on the graph so you can see it. So I'm going to go back to line A, and I'm going to start at the top red one. So you could go backwards. So instead of going left to right, you can go right to left. I'm a big fan of left to right myself personally. So if we started at this dot that I've now taken the red dot and turned it purple, I could go up 1, because that's what the positive one would say, and then go left 2. And I bet I still land on the line. So back to the graph. Up 1, left 2. You notice I still found another point on the line. So it's okay if the negative sign is on the bottom of the fraction or if the negative sign's on top of the fraction, just as long as you don't have more negative signs than you're supposed to. So here, what we want to do is we want to use this information, whatever's been given to us, and we're going to try to graph a line to match each description. Now, graphing a line, kind of leave it open to the fact that, well, maybe there's more than one line that satisfies this. And that's okay. So with this, there may be more than one line that makes this question correct. So much so that I would say that there are an uncountable amount of lines, like more than you and I could sit down and figure out, because we could start in different places. So there could be multiple answers. So could be multiple correct answers. So I want you to keep that in mind as we're going through and doing these problems. So you've got the graphs, those were given to you, but you don't have the STEM part of the question. So make sure that you write this down as we're going. So we're going to graph a line to match the description. Okay. Question A. We want a line that goes up 3. Sounds like we're talking about slope. Up 3 each time it goes right 5. Okay, how does that translate? All right, let's take a look. So we want it to go up 3. So that is my change in y. Remember, the y-axis is the one that runs up and down. And then I want to go right 5. That's my x direction. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and write what my slope is off to the side, so I know it. So M on this one is going to be, remember, y goes on top, so the up-down part goes first. So 3 over right 5. 5 goes on the bottom. but it doesn't tell me where to start or what the points are. So this is where the freedom kind of comes in. So what I want you to do on your graph is I want you to choose a point, any point that you want, on the little graph that I gave you, but make sure that you have enough room on there to do the slope. So I wouldn't choose a point like on the top right-hand side somewhere because I'm out of space. I can't go up 3 and right 5. I've run out of graph. So I'm probably going to choose something to the left and like down a little bit just so I have some room. So I think I'm going to start there. So you take a look at my graph, my blue dot, that's where I'm going to go. Now I'm going to do the slope. It's set up 3, so from there, I'm going to go up 3. Well, actually, we can color code this to go with what we wrote. So up 3. And then we went right 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Once I get there, I'm going to put another blue dot because now I have done the slope, so the up and the over. Now we want to take out some sort of a straight line. So whatever you have around the house, it could be a ruler if you have one of those. You could use the edge of your phone. Those are fairly straight. You could use a folded sheet of paper. If your parents keep coasters at the house, like little protectors for the tables, you don't get rings on them, and they're square, you can use the edge of those. There's a whole bunch of different things that you could use. But we do want to connect like a nice straight line between those points, the blue points. But now, depending on where you put your point to start, your line may not look exactly like mine. That's okay. Just as long as they all look like they're kind of pointing in the same direction and that from your first point, you went up 3 and then right 5. So it's possible. This is one of the graphs that this could be. Okay, let's take a look at question number 2, or part B. So part B tells us, they tell us the change in X and the change in Y. All right, so if we're being told the change in X, well, it's 4. That means that we're being told this is going to be right 4. Now, I know it's right because it's positive. I know it's 4 because they gave me the number 4. But I also know that it is right and not up because X goes right and left. So I want to think about the way that the x-axis runs on the graph. Okay, then they tell me that the change in y is -6. Okay, the negative, well, it's a y, so it's up, down. Negative, so down. So this is telling me down 6. Okay, let's go ahead and write the slope. So m is equal to, remember the y goes on top, so -6, and the 4 goes on the bottom. Now you can simplify the fraction, but you don't have to. So let's go ahead and just use it as it is. All right, I'm going to think about this. Where am I going to put my starting point? I need enough room so that I can go down 6. So I think I got to be up. And right 4. So I need room below and to the right. So I think I'm going to go like up left somewhere. So I think I'll start over here at my blue dot. So from there, I'm going to go down 6. Oh, I hope I left myself enough space. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, I got. And then from there, I'm supposed to go right 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, at the end of that, put the blue dot. Now, grab the straight edge again, whatever it is that you're using for your straight line, and let's connect the dots. again, just like the previous one, you could have a graph that looks a little bit different than mine, just as long as you went down 6 right 4 from a starting point though. Okay, so you see, we're just continuing along with the whole idea of slope is being handed to us and our job is to get back into graph a line. Remember, we could have different looking lines. That's okay, depending on where we started. All right, so this one to me looks a little different just because it isn't like change in y is this, change in x is this, go up this, go left that. This one is telling me that I want the change in y, so however much up down I'm doing, I want it to be the same as the xy, so the x that I'm doing. So I don't know, I think we should probably just kind of pick our favorite number, which is fine with me. So, because I just want the numbers to match. So change in y. I really like there are many numbers that I like. For some reason, I don't like the number 6, and I can't tell you why. I don't know. I don't have a valid reason for that. Like, why wouldn't somebody like a number? But, okay, here we are. I really like the number 2. I like the number 2 because it's special. All numbers are special, but this one is an even number, but it's also prime. Remember, prime, a number is only divisible by 1 in itself. So nothing else goes into the number 2 except 1 and 2. 2 is the only even prime number in existence. So I think I'm going to pick 2. You could pick 5 if you want to. You can't pick 0 though, because if we pick 0, then that means there's no up-down movement. There's no right-left movement. So we just have a dot. We don't have a line. So we can't pick 0, but you can pick anything else. So I think I'm going to pick 2, just because I think it's an interesting number. So this is going to tell me that I am going to be going up 2. Okay, once that's chosen, they have to be the same. So that's what the blue highlight says. So I think that means then that my change in x is going to have to be 2 as well. So they got to be the same number. So this is telling me that I'm going right 2. So now if I write the slope of this, that would be the 2 from the y, so the up-down part goes on top, and then the 2 from the x goes on the bottom, which can be simplified. And I get 1. I'm still going to use the 2 and the 2 though. But I want you to understand, no matter what number you choose, except for 0, we're not allowed to do that one. If you chose like 7, a lot of people really like the number 7. We would do 7 divided by 7. 7 divided by 7 is 1. Every single one of these is just going to give us 1. So I'm going to go ahead and where do I want to start this thing? Oh, I think I'm going to use this as an opportunity to remind us of the origin. So I'm going to choose the origin as my starting point. And as a reminder, the origin is the middle point on the graph. That's 0, 0. So that's where I'm going to start. It's just the point that I chose. Then from here, I'm going to use my 2's. So I'm going to go up 2. And then I'm going to go right 2. After I've done that, plot my point. Points are plotted. Grab your straight edge, whatever the thing is that you're using to create your straight line, and let's go ahead and connect these dots. Okay, last one. See if you can do the last one, and let's see what this graph looks like. Also, make sure you write down what the slope is. Okay, so let's take a look here. So we know this change in y is 3, so I'm being told up 3. And the change in x is 0 means there's no right or left. So if I were to write the slope on this one, I'm going to get m is equal to the y value on top and the x value on the bottom. This doesn't make any sense. We don't know how to divide by 0. If 0 is in the top of the fraction, then it's 0. We know how to do that. 0 in the bottom, that's a definite no-go. I think our answer on this slope is undefined. Okay, so I'm going to go to my graph, pick a starting point. Now, I'm not going to pick over there because I wrote in that area. I think I'll pick this point here, so that blue dot. So I'm going to go up 3 from that point. Woo. So up 3. But I'm not going to go right or left at all. So I think I'm just going to stop there. So plot my point. And then I'm going to take my straight edge and I'm going to run my line straight through those 2 blue points. You'll notice that what I got here was a vertical line. And a vertical line always has an undefined slope.